This video was brought to you by the TLDR merch store. To get 10% off, stick around until the end of the video. This weekend, the annual Eurovision Song Contest took place, but is that title even accurate? Is it a song contest or a popularity contest, where votes are more political than lyrical? Well, let's find out right now. Before we dive into the results of this year's contest and this incredibly complex map, let's first explain how Eurovision works. This year, 39 countries applied for the contest, most of them in Europe, with a few pretty dubious inclusions and some proper mad ones, like Australia. Anyway, luckily there are two semi-finals before the grand final, where the 39 are whittled down to a final 26. It's worth noting that not every country takes part in the semi-finals though, with the big five, that being France, Germany, Spain, Italy and the UK, all getting immediate places in the final, due to them being the biggest funders of the EBU, who organised the event. This might sound like an advantage, but not competing in the semi-finals limits the performer's stage time, and it's been suggested that some voters prejudice these countries due to antipathy about their automatic qualification. Anyway, on Saturday, 26 countries performed and were scored by the rest of Europe, with even the countries who failed to reach the final getting the opportunity to vote. Each country has two sets of points, one distributed by 5 industry professionals and the other by the television audience. Each gives a score of 12 to their favourite, 10 to second, 8 to third, and all the way down to 1 point. The idea here is that by having two separate vote pools, the contest is at least a bit serious, while also still involving the public. This voting system is a little contentious though, and maybe I'm in the exact right place to tell you about this, because Brits love complaining about this system. If we start by looking at the overall results from this year's event, you can see that, well, Britain didn't do great, getting 0 points, or more accurately, nil points. The first country not to pick up a single vote since the new voting system was implemented. You won't be surprised to hear that the old excuses have been rolled out in Britain. We didn't take it seriously enough, entering an interesting artist choice. Everyone hates us post-Brexit, and most importantly, everyone just votes for their neighbours, something which as an island we don't have many of. But is this true? Well, we're going to focus on the televoting side of things, because it's much more likely that these results will be influenced by the countries that each nation likes. So, here's how the first place positions were attributed. And yeah, it's a little messy. So let's agree that we need to drill down a bit further. Let's just focus on a handful of countries: Iceland, Lithuania, France, Italy, Serbia, and Ukraine. These are all countries who received at least 3 first place picks from other countries. Anyway, let's look at France first. They came second overall, but their first place picks all came from other major Western European nations. If we look at Lithuania and Iceland, you notice a similar trend, with a number of Nordic and northern countries backing their allies and neighbours. The same thing happens in the south of Europe, with neighbours backing Ukraine, and then in the Balkans, with a lot of neighbouring countries backing Serbia. And a similar thing also happens with Italy's supporters, with San Marino, a microstate within Italy, unsurprisingly voting for their only neighbour. Looking back further at historical data since 1975, we can find that there are similar alliances. The average score each country gives is 1.93, so it's pretty remarkable when you see connections like Greece and Cyprus, who consistently give each other huge scores, or even Albania, who seems to love Italy, or Spain and Andorra, who get along grandly. In fact, the Western European alliances generally seem to be pretty strong, with France getting very high scores consistently from Italy and Portugal. So, is Eurovision's voting more about politics and regional alliances than it is about the songs? Well, looking at this map and a bunch of other data analysis we've conducted, we can see that most years there are clusters of support. Each region generally appears to pick their region's best song. So it seems that people do broadly want to vote for their neighbours, and as such, they just pick their best neighbour. In theory, this should be balanced out by the panel of experts, and it does seem that to some extent this works, but there are still some pretty obvious clusters. And did everyone give the UK 0 because of Brexit? Well, there's no way to be sure, but I doubt it helped. Anyway, did you watch the 2021 contest? Do you agree with the final scores? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to support your favourite European nation, then check out the TLDR merch store, where we have pin badges featuring our iconic Countries with Shoes designs for every EU nation, as well as a bunch of others. Plus, if you want 20% off all of the pin badges we have in stock, then use code Eurovision. Thanks for your support. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. And you can find out more about these new Now videos by clicking the link in the description. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible. And if you want to see your name at the end of videos, then you too can back us on Patreon. The link to that is in the description.